Hello everybody, welcome to this Marvel Avengers Alliance video here on Twitch. Yeah, not Twitch, YouTube. That's the thing we're on. Today we are going through the maintenance, but I can do this video even without the maintenance. This is the first in a series of videos that I've been talking about doing, and this is the #1 video in the set. Yeah, set. So basically what this series of videos is I will be going through all of these Spec Ops sets from the earliest to the latest, and I'm going to be breaking them down, discussing them, talking about the synergy within the set and synergy outside of the set. Since we have a 5th slot now, there are times where you can run a set in its entirety and just insert a new 5th item that works, or break the set apart and use just key items for it. Interestingly enough, the first Spec Ops set is not from the first Spec Ops. It's from Spec Ops #2. So the first set we're going to look at is the Emma set, the chest set. It went along with Special Operations Long Live the Queen, which gave us Emma, and it is now almost 4 years old. Incredible to think of, isn't it? So, along with the set, we got the Mindbreaker, the Mind Killer, the Mutant's End, the Skull Ripper, the Skull Splitter, and the Sonic Fist. Yes, the Avalanche Fist. So, everything in this set centers around the Rook. So this is what I like to call an anchor set. This is where the items anchor one item in the set. There are other set styles, including what I like to say the Recycle Arrows set. So we've all seen that symbol for recycling and recycle here, how it's the 3 arrows looping in on each other. There's sets that are like that, where A buffs B, buffs C, buffs D, which buffs back to A. Then they have sets where if you have X amount of items, you get Y amount of buffs. And then you have the anchor style. Everything here is anchored around the Rook. First up, we have the Pawn. The Pawn is a quick action shield that is up every round. When you use it, you give yourself a Rook ammo, you give yourself a shield, and passively, just by having this, you get this thing called Defensive Experiment. Some of those mind control mobs in the game use this. It basically is like a Jade or Emerald Prism effect. When you get attacked, your defense goes up. So that means you actually get beefier as the battle goes on. This is valid nowadays with any other tanking setup. You just become better and better and better at tanking along the way. Don't know if it stacks with the Emerald Prism or not. That would be worth experimenting. Also really good with like Heimdall or the Lunacy. More things that can ensure you tank, the Pawn is good for. Up next we have the Knight. The Knight is a melee slashing weapon, otherwise known as the Penis Sword. It protects so that the shield fires off and you do stuff. And it causes rad exposure. It causes rad exposure because everything else in the set works off of energy. And it has a chance to counterattack. So the Knight can be moved out and you can put in something neat like the Blade of the Guardian or other protect items. As long as you're protecting, then the Pawn is doing its job. Also, the Bishop is doing its job. The kissing cousin of the Cosmic Cardinal. This thing has a pretty much guaranteed counterattack. When you counterattack, you get a Rook ammo and you restore stamina. And this is ranged energy and tech. So, that means if you use this with the Rectifier or the Key in the Nile, you heal every time it counters. Also, it has an increased chance to crit, and it hits because of the Rectifier. The anchor piece is the Rook. The Rook is ranged in energy but not a gun, so it's less susceptible to the Deb. It is a unique item in that it continues to fire until all of the Rook ammo is depleted, which means they commit follow-ups. This is not like other weapons where you click on it, and you click on it, and you click on it until it runs out. It does it for you. So that means it initiates for the Rocket Raccoons, the Spider-Man Noirs, the Union Jacks, the Beatles, all those. Hey, no, not that the Beatles, the Beetle. So the Rook is pretty nice, and it's one of the few things in the game that does what it does. Good initiator for those teams. Up next, we have the AVX set, otherwise known as the Avengers vs. X-Men set. Its compatriot gear is the Soul Drainer, the Fault Eater, the Fault Seeker, the Wonderful Fist of Colossus, the recently brought back to light Girl's Best Friend, the Marksman Spotter, the Captain America gun of the M1911 Patriot, the Pinion, the Talon, and the really cool Ruby Quartz rifle, and Captain Electro's little forced reset buddy, the Thunderstrike. Yes, that's the big hammer that was recently brought back that was causing all the crashes when used with Electro. So the first thing we have is the Phoenix Flare. It gives you Phoenix Rebirth. It restores health over time. It has slow recharge, aka a rose by any other name is still it kicks like a mule. It's AoE, it's stealthy, but it starts cooldown, and it is up every other round. Range gun energy attack, likes tech upgrade, likes the rectifier, doesn't like the depth. This set is somewhat unique in the sense that it's a 4-piece set where 2 of these go together. These 2 go together, and these 2 go together. Phoenix, Magic, kind of Phoenix or other Phoenix 5 related heroes, and the Arc Reactor Charge based off of Iron Man. This is a quick action shield that is available every round. It doesn't start cooldown, but it has slow recharge. It does reactor overload, restores full stamina until attack is made, and causes the next attack to do double damage. So this was being used to exploit a boss for a little while. It's a very, very interesting shield. It could be used as a giant setup for the firing of things like a Warbringer's Axe, or a Coulson's Revenge, or a Roar of the North, or something big that can do tons of damage, and it restores your stamina for it. My guess is that if there was ever a way of really working measured into the agent and doing a big attack, the Arc Reactor Charge might be off the charts powerful at that point. But you're going to sacrifice a turn. The design was the 2 turn sacrifices from Phoenix Flare and Arc Reactor Charge occur simultaneously instead of linearly, so it's not 1 round, 2 round, it's 1 round. Moving on, we have the Cosmic Flame. This is a gadget that I really like from this, and this has shown up quite a lot recently. Again, Phoenix Rebirth, it's a quick action, up every other round that says the next attack applies Soulfire on whoever you cast it on. Where this is really good is for stealthy AoE people like your Spitfires, your Quicksilvers, your Flinting Circus from Fandral. Soulfire cannot remove the Mystic Shroud or Warding Essence, but it can remove other buffs. Its partner in crime is the Soulfire Blade. This thing operates like the Splinter Knight and the Devourer, and it says anytime anybody's hit that has Soulfire on them, this has a chance to add on to the attack. So, if the entire enemy team has Soulfire and Quicksilver AoEs them, this can go 1, 2, 3 and hit everybody on the enemy side. Ethereal Strike. Not only is this thing a magic sword, but it has Ethereal Strike to deal with all of those damn pesky phase people lately. Ethereal Cloak and Dagger? No problem. Stab them anyways. And if you get Soulfire to stick on them, it may even do a follow-up. Pretty nice weapon in today's meta because of all the intangibility. And hey, removing buffs isn't something to really shake a stick at. Again, these two kind of go together, these two kind of go together, but you can use the Soulfire Blade if you have other ways of putting out Soulfire. You can use the Cosmic Flame for the healing and buffing somebody else. You can use the Arc Reactor charge just to buff some other massive attack. Moving on, we have one of the most highly rated sets of all time, the most favorited, the most liked, the most voted on. From the Ghost Rider Spec Ops, it is the Demon set. Also, along with this set, ran the Infernal Blade, the Soul Finder, the Infernal Axe, the Sin Flayer, the Sacrificial Blade, the Sinister Scepter, the Causes Bleeding on the Agent Binding Contract, and the Frozen Hell. Where is... Sinister Scepter is the Phasing Scepter, yes. So, when you use this, you become intangible. However, if you use it the next round, you become tangible again. So spamming this is not a good thing. I was really happy to get this somewhat recently. It's really good if you have no other way of getting phase, but you can't spam it, so it's not very good on defense. So this is the first set that really featured the Recycling Arrow synergy. This is one of these sets where A goes to B, goes to C, goes to D, goes back to A. And it starts with the Fury. So the Fury is a single target melee slashing weapon, not magic. It has a chance to do a counterattack. It increases the damage from slashing attacks. If Dark Void is on your agent, you get a massive bonus to evasion, and you apply Burning, Death Frost, Poison, and Dark Void all in one swipe. And Death Frost is put on your agent. Interesting thing to note, why is it Burning and Death Frost? It's so that the two can coexist. Anytime you work with the higher level of Burning or Chilled, you can have coexistence. Burning and Chilled cancel each other, but once you go up to Soulfire or Death Frost, there is no longer any cancels from its opposite. Also, Soulfire cannot be pushed over to Scorched. If you want to Scorch somebody, you have to stick with Burning, and you can't do Soulfire, because Soulfire overtakes Burning. So that you can't have Burning and Soulfire on somebody. And if you have Soulfire on somebody, you can't Scorch them. So keep that in mind. Grief is an AoE weapon that has True Strike. Yeah, except for the cube. You all know that. Reality hacking. If the agent is on fire, you get a massive bonus to attack, and you get Exploit Attrition. This was really, really bad with some Pesty and Enchantress teams. The Demon set made quite a big comeback when we were dealing with Pesty and Enchantress. The Signpost. This is the most singular set piece item that has been pulled out of a set and used with other things. Everybody knows the Signpost. It's a demon on a stick. We know about this thing. We don't really need to talk about it. It unfortunately was nerfed lately when Drain items were nerfed. However, it causes poison on you, and if you have Death Frost, the first thing we talked about, you get a massive bonus to accuracy, and it doubles the healing power. Now, if the healing power doubles it back to where it used to be without the boost, it might still work out pretty well. But as of right now, it doesn't heal what it used to. But hey, drains are good. Finally, we have the real anchor of the set, and that is the Hot Shot. If you are poisoned, the Signpost, you grant a massive bonus to defense and a high chance to stun enemies. Everybody's burning, you are burning, it's up every 2 rounds. It looks magical, but it's not. Ranged gun and fire, so it has issues with the depth. But pretty good with that blaster suit that came around recently. This thing, with set bonuses, or with the Signpost really, was a monster. I used to run it with Captain Steve Rogers and Pesty on offense, and my god, the amount of times I got triple stuns off of this thing were crazy. Really very, very good shotgun, and there's no reason other than the Deb why it can't be used nowadays. The next set introduced the monstrosity to try to help against the hotshot, because we didn't have ISOs that did it back then. But this set is just wicked, and there's no reason nowadays why you can't whip this set out. Especially with things like the Chaos Shot SMG, the Cube, the Golden Copus, the Thorny. That's what I like about this set. If you equip the Thorny, you can hide anything in the set that you're running, because the Thorny applies all those debuffs itself. So you can take out the Fury and the Grief, equip the Thorny, and nobody knows what you're running until it happens. Also, the Deathly Freeze Ray works pretty well with this set, the DFR, and the big axe with the 2 golden globes on the top, and it's double-edged. I don't know the name of it. I have it in my inventory. I don't remember the name. I know it likes burning. It's not the Thanaphage. The Thanaphage is the one that likes death. Yeah, but there's another axe that gets a boost out there if you're burning. So it works out pretty well with the hotshot. I think it even has a chance to follow up on burning people. If anybody remembers the name of it, put it down in the comment below, because I just can't remember the name of that stupid thing. And actually, the game's back up now from another density phase array. Wonderful. Thank you, Plato. Because I really need 2 of those things. It's up now from the maintenance, so maybe I'll be able to find out what it is. Maybe not. Moving on, we have the self-sacrifice set, aka the agent does all the work for you, and if he dies, no big deal. So, what this set has is the anchor is the Roar in the North. So moving on, let's talk about the Hoarfrost Mace. The Hoarfrost Mace is a nifty little item that gives you Fortitude, which is a resistance to being knocked out by dots, and you get this thing called Sacrifice. You protect allies from single target attacks, so it's a tanking weapon. And if you are reduced to 0, notice it doesn't say die, but if your hit points are reduced to 0, what will happen is you get this thing called Sacrificial Strength. What Sacrificial Strength is that everybody on your side of the field gets a 30% boost to attack. Can you believe that? A 30% boost to attack. Can you imagine what that would be like to combine with a Hallowed Flamethrower, or a Savage Spear, or a Savage Axe, or all of the above, or the massive attack bonus from the Demon set? Things to consider. So up next we have the Barrow Guard. Now, the Barrow Guard is a very nifty item. It was one of the first resurrection items that the agent could have that was not related to a res from somebody else. So, what this thing does is 13th Charm. Revives the agent with 25% health and debuffs when you are knocked out. It triggers once every 3 rounds. So if you have a deep battle, this can res you actually multiple times. That is pretty cool, is it not? So, you get Wisdom when you're revived. Wisdom is the next tooltip over here. It removes the cooldown on the Roar of the North. You restore health when attacking. So, how is that good? Well, this thing is melee, ice, and magic, which means if you have the Resonant ISO, that means you are going to double heal when you swipe with the Barrow Guard. If you have the Resonant ISO, the Barrow Guard, and the Crooked Branch, you will double heal, you will triple heal off of it, and if you have the Staff of Asclepios, you'll triple heal with a Blessing in effect. Huge healing can come off of this thing. We have the Monstrosity up next in the set. I will find you, Axe. I know I will find you. not the Screamer. I'm too far back in my inventory. Okay. So, this used to say stun immunity. You couldn't be stunned if you had the monstrosity equipped. Now it is, of course, stun resistance. All enemies got intimidated. It had no cooldown. But, if you notice, there's a big problem here. The big problem is it was not a quick action. Which meant, if you put this on defense, you may wind up spamming this every single round, which is a bad thing. Intimidated's up for 2 rounds anyway, so it does no good to spam it. But they gave us the Menacing Pulse at some point in time, and they went right past quick action and gave it as a free action. So you get all the benefits of the monstrosity, but much better. By the way, in case you don't know, that's Destroyer's head on a handle. So this thing was kind of in retaliation to the Hotshot, but it was also supposed to be so that the Roar of the North didn't stun you. But the problem was, when stuns were changed and everything, before the stun immunity thing was changed, it was changed so that Kicks Like a Mule was bordered, and nothing would remove it. So this was basically so that you were not stunned when you used the Roar of the North. But the Roar of the North pretty much tells you 15 different ways. Look, dude, you're losing your next turn. Deal with it. Go outside, make a nice cold glass of lemonade, go water the plants, go make some lunch, go jog around the block, because your agent ain't doing shit. Like, that's a guarantee. Piece of trivia. For a long time, this was considered the highest base damage in the game. I don't know if that is still true, because we do have things like the Coulson's Revenge and everything, and the Warbringer Axe to take into consideration, but this was in effect for a period of time, and that's why it had the Kicks Like a Mule. Might be interesting to see what happens if you combine that with like an arc reactor charge before firing that thing. That might be a ton of damage going out at that point. So, that's the self-sacrifice set, and that gave us Valkyrie. And let's see what else we got around that time. I know we got the 2 Laufrey items. That's the knife and the needle. We got the flashing eye, which another version has been reappearing lately, a free action version of it. We got the Odin's Cane and the Odin's Staff, the Screamer, and the Swift Lyre. The Swift Lyre is one of the first things that ever had a disable effect on it. And it was called at the time Reduced Potential. So it could lock out like a ranged, it could lock out a melee, it could lock out a buff debuff, etc, etc. Oh, that axe, I cannot find you. I'm just scrolling through my inventory in the background. There's my demon set. It should be around the demon set somewhere. I can't find it. I found my Thorny. I found my DFR. Oh, there it is. Found it. The Hard Knocks. Oh my god, how did I forget that? Yeah, so the Hard Knocks is something that goes with the demon set. And I think an Arc Reactor Charge Roar of the North could be interesting. And honestly, the Barrow Guard, there's nothing stopping you from making good use of the Barrow Guard recently. Moving on, we have the final set of the video, and it is the Cosmic set. The first item in the Cosmic set is the Scythe of Ptah. Targets all enemies with a melee slashing attack. For every enemy hit, you get Cosmic Energy. So it could be 1, 2, or 3. Oh, that Hard Knocks. How did I forget about that? What did the Hard Knocks like? It caused poison, which buffed... Okay, so it caused poison, which buffed the Hotshot. It did Soul Fire. If the agent is burning, grants a massive bonus to attack. Yeah, okay. That's what it was used for. I remember it had some good synergy with that set. Up next is the Ray Shield Generator, similar to that Arc Reactor Shield. This one is up every other round. It is a quick action. It gives you something called Ray Shield. It is stronger for every cosmic energy used, so this is actually something you have to use tactically. You can't just spam it. It's better to do it when you have higher cosmic energy. But it also gives you cosmic energy when you use it. The next item up for bid here on The Price is Right is the GG prototype, otherwise known as the douche cannon or the douche nozzle. Before we talk about this thing, I gotta ask you guys, does this look like a pumpkin at the end of the barrel over here, the launcher? Does that not look like a jack-o'-lantern? Just a little tiny triangle eye up there and then a jaggy mouth over here. I'm sorry, it looks like a fucking jack-o'-lantern. I can't help it. I've never been able to unsee that ever since I started thinking about it. So this thing was called the douche cannon when it reappeared under the Pesty and Enchantress teams. It converted cosmic energy into making the GG prototype what was then a quick action. Quick actions were spammable back then, so you could have 1 to 5 shots of this thing. It caused internal bleeding, burning, biofeedback, radiation exposure, iso-8 corruption, or bad breath, which we know from Marbles in the Final Fantasy series. You always gotta wonder if that was a social statement, saying that Marbles gave you bad breath. You get it? Smoking? Oh, you kooky Japanese people. Unfortunately, nowadays, thanks to the quick action, free action debacle of 1862, that has changed and now only can fire twice in a round or once and then you do something else. The Radiant Cannon. So the Ray Shield generator said you were protected from rad exposure. Enter the Radiant Cannon. It exploits attrition. It's ranged energy gun and tech, so it likes the rectifier, it likes upgrade, it doesn't like the deb. And what this thing does is it causes radiation exposure while exploiting all of the other things. And you get this buff called Overwatch, not to be confused with Blizzard's awesome team-based shooter. This doesn't give you that Overwatch. It gives you a buff that's like Quicksilver's quickness. It can counter if an ally is attacked, or join in when an ally attacks, and consumes cosmic energy when you do it. When that counter happens, rad exposure goes on the agent. Possible good wombo combo with the Rad Sniffer, but the Rad Sniffer sucks balls, so who cares? And it gives you cosmic energy when you use it. This was the power of the set, really, when it exploits attrition. Pretty good nowadays, except for the fact that it's a gun. So that's going to wrap up the first 5 sets that we're talking about. Now, I told you in the beginning, the next video is going to suck, because this is what's up next. The 40th Century set, the Data set, the Stark Tech set, and Genetic Reengineering. Now, that's only 4, but the reason is I'm going to condense the 4 steaming pile of cow dungs all in one video and not taint it with another good set. I will say that I'm going to keep you guys guessing. I'm going to do a surprise 5th set in this video that is going to be a surprise. I'm going to give you no more details about it, but it's going to be something to kind of save the video. Now, there are some decent items in here, some honorable mentions, and one real superstar of the set that you probably know what it is, but you'll have to wait and find out. But there's a few good items in there, but in general, they hit a long run of 4 sets that were just trash, and they don't stand up today. You could pull out a Rook today, you could pull out a Pawn, a Bishop today. You can pull out an Arc Reactor Charge, a Cosmic Flame, and a Soul Fireblade. You could really work with the Demon set. You could really work with the Self-Sacrifice set. You can kind of work with the Cosmic set, which also has a lot of good synergy with the Galactic set. As a matter of fact, the Abative Helmet was used extensively with the Cosmic Cardinal to power the GG prototype. So, that's the video for today. We're going to wrap it up. I hope I gave you guys some good ideas, like the Thorny with the Demon set, the DFR, the Hard Knocks, maybe running an Arc Reactor Charge into something powerful, like a Roar of the North and the Radiant Cannon? Can we stack the stuns from the flare and the reactor charge and a shepherd staff all together so that you do a whole bunch of stun items but they only take one round and then you're back? Who knows? I really need to experiment with the arc reactor charge and that shepherd staff and see what happens. It would be really nice if it actually worked out. So we'll see. Take care, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video.